What? What did you just do to me?
I didn't heal you. I tuned you.
Rain lashes the docks. Alexander Ward, a once unbreakable CEO now in a wheelchair, waits outside St. Bridget's shelter, heavy with guilt for a fallen bridge. A gang flees. One boy stays, clutching a battered tin toy car. He touches the chair. Warmth climbs Alexander's spine. "I can retune what's broken," the boy says. "If one touch can heal, what will it cost them both?" Rain pinned the port city flat, pressing the ocean back into itself. From the 28th floor, Alexander Ward watched harbor cranes vanish in sheets of gray. The glass gave him a mirror. Deep blue eyes, dark brown hair touched with gray, a square jaw. A navy suit hung perfect. Below the jacket, a carbon frame hugged his hips, the wheelchair still new enough to squeak. 2 years since the bridge fell. He kept one remnant in his inside pocket, a cold steel bolt from the wreckage. It clicked against his phone when he shifted, a metronome of blame. Cole Reyes stepped in, rain on his shoulders and a tired grin. "Storm's going to knock half the waterfront offline," he said. "City asks if Aurelius can spin up mobile units. Shelter on Pierce Street is already full." "Aurelius can and will," Alexander said. "Send 2 to St. Bridget's. Blankets, batteries, food vouchers." Cole hesitated. "You don't have to deliver." "I don't have to," Alexander said. "I want to." He paused at a photograph near the door from a company open house years ago. Engineers crowded a lab bench. In the corner, a small boy lifted a battered tin toy car toward the camera. Alexander had forgotten the father's name, not the boy's grip on that little car, like anchor and compass both. On the ground floor, wind shoved the doors wide, salt air muscling in. Dr. Maya Lin waited by the curb with a clipboard. "I rerouted power to the West Pier," she said. "The greenhouse will hold." He almost smiled. "Good work." "Please take Cole," she said. "Everything has a frequency, even hope." He touched the bolt. "Some things you never forget." They rode in a van stacked with compact generators and thermal boxes. Wipers beat time. Cole drove, eyes shifting between road and mirrors. "You could be at home," he said. "No cameras, no investors, just rain." "Home is a room that remembers what I lost," Alexander said. "Work is a promise I can keep." The van nosed along the waterfront, past bait shops shuttered early, past a diner pouring yellow light onto puddles. The city held its breath between thunder. He pictured the bridge as it had been, all grace and math. Then the snap, the tilt, the water. He counted 4 beats in and out, as his therapist taught him. The bolt pressed his ribs like a truth. Cole parked by a church with a sloped roof and a hand-painted sign. St. Bridget's Shelter. The lot was full. Voices braided under the eaves, worry and relief together. Alexander eased the ramp and rolled into the weather, rain needling his face. Sister Agnes met them at the door, gray hair tucked, sleeves rolled. "Mr. Ward," she said, surprised but not impressed. "You sent help." "I brought it," he said. He liked the way her gaze met his at eye level, no pity. "How many inside?" "More than beds," she said. "We kept the lights, thanks to your crews. Storm is mean. Brings out fear." He handed Cole the intake list and passed vouchers to a volunteer with chapped hands. Inside, the shelter was steam and tin cups. A radio found old songs. The hum of generators braided with the melody, a thin thread of order. Alexander studied a bulletin board flecked with flyers. Lost and found. Tenancy clinics. A paper star colored by a child's careful hand. He thought of the photograph, the boy and his car. Somewhere, a father had promised to come back. Somewhere, a promise had broken. Wind punched the doorway, and Sister Agnes looked past him into the night, her jaw hitching. He followed her gaze to the iron gate at the end of the lot, where rain assembled into silhouettes. He could not make out faces, just movement, quick and mean. He set his hands on the rims. "Cole." "I see them," Cole said. The old bolt in Alexander's pocket felt heavier. He angled his chair toward the gate, breath steady, pulse loud. Outside, the storm kept singing. Rain streaked sideways under the shelter's lamps, carving shadows at the iron gates. Alexander rolled closer, water soaking through his cuffs. 4 boys clustered near the post, their hoods dripping. In their circle, small and hunched, was a child clutching something tight to his chest. The taller boys shoved him, jeering over the wind. Cole quickened his pace. "I'll clear them." "No," Alexander said, his voice low but firm. "Let me." The wheelchair hummed over wet gravel, the rhythm of rain and wheels folding into one. As he neared, the boys noticed and froze. Their bravado slipped at the sight of the man whose face graced billboards across the city, even sitting in a chair. One spat into the mud, muttering, before they scattered into the storm, leaving only the smallest boy behind. The child's knuckles were white around a battered tin toy car, the paint chipped down to dull metal. His clothes hung thin, soaked through, his hair plastered against his forehead. He didn't run. He just stared, eyes dark and unblinking. Alexander stopped a few feet away. "Are you hurt?" The boy shook his head, though his lip trembled. He looked about 8, shoulders squared as if holding himself against the whole night. When Alexander leaned forward, the boy's gaze dropped to the wheelchair, lingering. "What's your name?" Alexander asked. "Kai," he whispered, clutching the toy car closer. Thunder cracked. Alexander meant to comfort him, but before he could speak, Kai stepped forward. Small fingers brushed the steel frame of the wheelchair. The moment skin met metal, a spark, not light, but warmth, raced up through Alexander's spine. It wasn't imagined. It wasn't phantom pain. It was alive. His breath hitched. "What did you just do?" Kai tilted his head, calm in a way no 8-year-old should be. "I heard it. Your body's song. It's wrong, but I can tune it." His voice was soft, steady, almost certain. He lifted the toy car a little. "Like this. Broken, but it still runs if you listen right." Alexander blinked hard, every nerve humming. 2 years he had felt nothing below the waist but numb weight. Now, fire whispered through him, fragile and fleeting. He gripped the wheels tighter. "That's impossible." Kai only shrugged. "Not impossible, just hidden." Cole finally caught up, eyes darting between them. "Boss, are you all right? You look—" He cut off at Alexander's expression. "What happened?" Alexander shook his head, unsure himself. He turned back to Kai. "Where are your parents?" The boy's jaw tightened. "Gone." He held up the toy car. "This is all I have left." Sister Agnes called from the doorway, her voice sharp with concern. "Bring him inside before the storm swallows you both." Alexander hesitated, still tingling from the impossible warmth. Kai's eyes never wavered. There was something in them. Old grief, stubborn hope, that pierced deeper than sympathy. For the first time since the bridge, Alexander felt something besides guilt. He nodded slowly. "Come on, Kai. Let's get you out of the rain." The boy slipped a small hand onto his wheel rim, as if guiding him. Together, they crossed the gravel toward the shelter. Rain clattered on the tin roof above, but inside, light waited, and questions pressed in heavier than the storm. The shelter's doors groaned as Alexander pushed inside, Kai at his side. The air was thick with damp coats, soup steam, and murmurs of families riding out the storm. Sister Agnes moved swiftly, wrapping Kai in a wool blanket, but the boy never let go of the battered toy car. His eyes stayed fixed on Alexander, as if the storm had carried him here for a reason. Cole leaned close, his voice low. "What happened out there? You look like you've seen a ghost." Alexander swallowed hard. "Not a ghost. Something else." He flexed his fingers on the armrests. The phantom warmth still flickered down his legs like a half-remembered song. Sister Agnes studied Alexander's face. Storms bring strange things. Some we call blessings, others warnings. Kai tugged on Alexander's sleeve. His voice was calm, far too calm for his age. You're out of tune. Your body, I mean. I can hear it, like strings pulled wrong. That's why you can't walk. The room hushed around them, as if even the rain paused to listen. Alexander's chest tightened. And you think you can fix that? Kai nodded once. I don't fix. I retune. But you have to let me finish. If someone interrupts, it bounces back, hurts both of us. Cole's eyes narrowed. This is absurd. He's a child, not a doctor. But Sister Agnes's gaze softened on Kai. I've seen this boy calm fevers without medicine. His touch steadies more than bodies. Still, what he carries is a heavy gift. You must be careful. Alexander sat back, staring at the boy's fragile hands curled around the car. 2 years of paralysis, of doctors and machines, of nights replaying the bridge collapse, suddenly shaken by a child who spoke of music in his bones. Hope surged, frightening in its strength. Kai stepped closer. If you want, I can start now. Alexander's heart pounded. And if you're wrong, then nothing changes, Kai said simply. You stay the same, but if I'm right, you'll stand again. Sister Agnes raised a hand. Alexander, don't gamble his strength against your longing. Healing is not a bargain. Alexander's jaw worked. He had commanded billions, reshaped grids and cities, yet here he sat, trembling before a boy with a toy car. Why me? Why tonight? Kai's answer was as soft as the storm outside. Because you heard me, and I heard you. The words landed deep, like a chord struck true. Against every calculation, every instinct to shield himself from disappointment, Alexander nodded. Then show me. Kai knelt before the chair, placing one hand lightly on Alexander's knee, the other clutching the car against his chest. His eyes closed, and the room's noise faded. A hum rose, not from the machines, but from within Alexander himself, as if his body remembered a song it had forgotten. Heat surged again, sharper, brighter. Alexander gasped, gripping the armrests. For a heartbeat he swore his toes shifted inside his shoes. Tears blurred his vision. Cole stepped forward, alarmed. Boss! But Alexander raised a trembling hand. No, let him finish. When Kai finally opened his eyes, sweat streaked his brow, but his voice was steady. That's enough for now. More later, if you trust me. Alexander bent forward, staring at the boy. For the first time in years, he let himself whisper the word he had buried. Hope. The storm pressed against the shelter's walls like a living thing, rattling glass panes and dripping through old seams. Alexander sat still, his pulse racing as Kai pulled his hand back. The warmth in his legs lingered faintly, like the echo of a distant melody. Sister Agnes laid a firm hand on Alexander's shoulder. This is no parlor trick. The boy carries something beyond understanding, and if you let greed drive you, both of you will break. I'm not greedy, Alexander said hoarsely. His gaze never left Kai. I'm desperate. Kai's small fingers tightened around the battered toy car. It's not medicine, he said softly. It's resonance. Your body is an instrument, out of tune. I can tune it back, but it takes time. And if we stop halfway, his eyes lifted, dark and solemn, it will rebound, hurt me, hurt you, worse than before. Cole shifted uneasily. Boss, this is dangerous. We don't know what's happening in there. It could kill you. Alexander's jaw clenched. He remembered the bridge snapping, the screams, the plunge into cold water. He remembered opening his eyes under fluorescent hospital lights, the doctor's grim nod. No cure. No way back. He had accepted a life of steel and wheels, and yet, in one night, an 8-year-old shattered that certainty. I've lived 2 years already in ruins, Alexander murmured. If there's a chance, even a dangerous one, what choice do I have? Sister Agnes knelt by Kai, cupping the boy's cheek. Child, your gift is not a weapon, nor a cure to be demanded. It is heavy. You must not let others use you. Kai leaned into her touch but shook his head. He's not using me. I chose. Alexander stared at him. Why me, Kai? Why not someone else? The boy's answer was simple, unshaken. Because I heard your silence. It sounded like mine. The words struck harder than any storm. Alexander pressed his palms to his face, then let out a shaky breath. He lowered his hands to meet Kai's gaze. Then we walk this path together. Carefully, but together. Cole groaned. Boss, if this goes wrong, it'll be on me too. I can't protect you from this. You can protect him, Alexander said, nodding at Kai. His voice hardened, steel under the storm. That's your task now. The boy clutched the car closer, a talisman of memory. Alexander noticed the way the chipped paint caught the dim light, almost glowing. That car, he said. Where did you get it? Kai's voice faltered for the first time. My dad gave it to me before he disappeared. Alexander's heart stumbled. What was his name? The boy hesitated, then whispered, Mintron. He used to work on bridges. Cole's head jerked up. Boss? Alexander's breath went cold. Mintron. He remembered the name now, an engineer at Aurelius Gridworks, brilliant, quiet, vanished just months before the bridge collapsed, and his son now stood before him, carrying both a gift and a wound. Sister Agnes's voice cut the silence. You see why I tell you to tread with caution. Fate weaves tighter knots than we can untangle. The storm roared above them, thunder splitting the sky. Alexander looked at Kai, then at the toy car, and something inside him, guilt, grief, hope, shifted. For the first time in years, he whispered, Maybe fate is giving me one more chance. Dawn crept gray over the port city, but the storm had not loosened its grip. The rooftop greenhouse at Aurelius headquarters swayed under sheets of rain. Inside, glass walls dripped with condensation, vines clung to steel trellises, and monitors hummed with a faint electric glow. Alexander sat in the center of the room, his wheelchair adjusted back. Dr. Maya Lin leaned over a panel, her eyes darting across streams of neurological data. Kai knelt before Alexander, one hand pressed gently on his knee, the other still wrapped tight around the battered toy car. Maya's voice broke the tense silence. This is impossible. Spinal responses are firing that should be dead. It's as if new circuits are awakening. Alexander's jaw tightened. Not machines. Not surgery. Just a boy's touch. Kai opened his eyes slowly. Not just touch. Resonance. Every body has a rhythm. Yours is broken. I can retune it, but it takes time. Cole stood near the door, arms crossed, rain dripping from his jacket. He scanned the monitors, then Kai, then the storm-smeared glass. Boss, we don't know what this is doing to him. Or you. This could go sideways fast. Alexander gripped the armrest. I can feel it, Cole. For the first time in years, I feel something real. Maya frowned. I should be skeptical, but the data doesn't lie. If this continues... Alexander, you might walk again. The weight of the words filled the greenhouse. Alexander's breath caught, his chest heavy with a mixture of hope and fear. Say it again, he whispered. You might walk again, Maya repeated. Kai looked down, his voice softer now. But if we stop too soon, it will hurt us both, badly. Before Alexander could respond, Cole's phone buzzed. He stepped into the corridor, answered, and returned with his face pale. We've got a problem. I traced something through the security feed. Helix Arc's name popped up. Boss. They weren't just rivals bidding contracts. They were tied to the bridge collapse. And Min Tran. Alexander froze. Kai's father? Cole nodded grimly. The man didn't just vanish, he was targeted. Helix Arc covered their tracks, but I've got fragments linking them to both the collapse and a disappearance. Kai's eyes widened, his grip on the toy car trembling. My dad? He didn't leave? Alexander leaned forward, every muscle in his face taut. He loved you. He wouldn't have abandoned you. His voice cracked, then steadied with steel. If Helix Arc had a hand in this, they'll answer for it. Maya shut off the monitors. Alexander, if this gets out, the board will panic. Investors don't believe in miracles. They'll think Aurelius is playing with forbidden science. You need to tread carefully. Carefully? Alexander's voice rose, sharp against the glass walls. 2 years in this chair, haunted by guilt, while a child held the key, and Helix Arc may have destroyed both his father and the bridge. No, Maya, this isn't just about me, it's bigger. Kai's small voice cut through. Then we find my dad. Together. The boy's certainty steadied him more than any doctor's assurance. Alexander looked at him, saw the determination shining despite fear, and something within him shifted. He wasn't just fighting to stand again, he was fighting for family. Cole slid his gun into its holster. If Helix Arc's involved, we'll need to be ready. They won't let this boy slip away now. Thunder boomed, rattling the greenhouse. Alexander straightened in his chair, fire in his eyes. Then let them come. I'm not giving up on him. Not on either of us. Rain hammered against the greenhouse glass as Alexander sat in silence, Kai's hand still warm against his knee. For the first time since the bridge collapse, he felt not only faint sensation, but the tremor of possibility. His toes tingled like sparks beneath water. Maya steadied herself on the console. Alexander, I can't explain this with science, but the readings are undeniable. Signals that should be dead are firing. Your spinal cord is waking up. Alexander laughed under his breath, but the sound was bitter. $20 billion builds grids, lights cities, moves oceans. But not this. Not the miracle I needed. His eyes dropped to Kai. Until now. Kai held up his toy car, chipped paint gleaming faintly. It's not a miracle. It's just tuning. Every sound has a place. Your body forgot its song. I can help it remember. Cole stalked closer, tension bristling. Boss, Helix Arc already has eyes on us. If word gets out, they'll come for the boy. And if they take him... He cut himself short, jaw tight. Alexander's gaze sharpened. They won't. Cole pressed on. You don't understand. I traced financials, chatter on dark nets. They've been hunting cases like his, children with gifts. Kai's father was their test subject before he vanished. If they know his son has this ability... Alexander clenched his fists. Then protecting him becomes our first priority. My legs are secondary. Kai's eyes lifted, unwavering. But you want to walk. I can feel it. Alexander's breath caught. Truth hung heavy in the air. He wanted it desperately, but not at the cost of a boy's life. He reached forward, resting a hand lightly on Kai's shoulder. What I want doesn't matter if it puts you in danger. You've already given me more than I dreamed. A second chance at hope. Maya lowered her voice. He's right, Alexander. This isn't about personal healing anymore. It's about what protecting him means. For you, for this company, maybe for every child like him. For a moment, the greenhouse filled only with the sound of rain and the quiet hum of machines. Alexander stared past the glass, out into the storm-washed skyline of the city. Billionaires command empires, he murmured, voice rough. But we can't command the things that matter most. Not miracles, not family, not redemption. He looked back at Kai, eyes fierce now. But maybe we can protect them. Kai gave the smallest smile, weary but determined. Then don't stop. We have to finish. If we quit, it breaks us both. Cole exhaled hard, almost a growl. Boss, this road could burn everything you've built. Aurelius, your fortune, your reputation. Alexander leaned forward, meeting his eyes with fire. Then let it burn. What's the worth of an empire if I can't save one child? The boy squeezed the toy car tighter, as though anchoring himself. His voice, steady and small, threaded through the storm. We're not alone now. That means we can win. Lightning flashed, white against the greenhouse glass. Alexander held Kai's gaze, and for the first time since the bridge fell, he wasn't thinking of loss, but of promise. The storm raged into night, but the unease inside Aurelius grew louder than thunder. Alexander wheeled himself into his private office, the steel and glass walls reflecting his drawn face. Cole locked the doors, scanning for listening devices before speaking. Boss, Helix Arc operatives were spotted 2 blocks from St. Bridget's. They're circling the shelter. Alexander's jaw tightened. They know about Kai. Kai sat quietly on the couch, the toy car balanced on his palm. He traced the chipped edges with a finger, as if the worn metal could steady him. They don't want me. They want what I can do, like they wanted my dad. Maya crossed her arms. Alexander, you're the CEO of a $20 billion empire. One scandal about experimenting with a child, and Aurelius collapses overnight. Are you willing to risk that? Alexander turned his wheelchair toward her, his voice edged but steady. I've been living half a life since the bridge fell. I can't let fear dictate the other half, not when this boy is in front of me. Cole slammed a fist lightly on the desk. And what if they take him? What if your hope becomes his curse? Is regaining your legs worth putting Kai in the crosshairs? Silence thickened. Alexander's hands gripped the rims of his wheels. The warmth Kai had sparked in him still lingered, a cruel reminder of what was possible. His throat tightened. I don't know, he admitted, and that terrifies me. Kai's voice broke through, quiet but unwavering. If you stop now, both of us will break. I can feel it. It's not just your body, it's my life too. We're tied together now. Alexander looked at him, heart aching at the boy's courage. He had built grids to power millions of homes, yet a child with nothing but a toy car spoke with more strength than billionaires in boardrooms. Sister Agnes's words from the shelter echoed in his mind. Blessings or warnings. He whispered, almost to himself, Am I using him? Am I so desperate to walk that I'd gamble with his life? Kai leaned forward, eyes searching his. You're not using me. I chose this. Because you're the first person who listened. He held out the battered toy car. This is all I have left of my dad. If you promise to help me find him, then I'll promise to help you walk. Alexander's throat burned. He reached out and closed his hand gently over the car, over Kai's fingers. Then I promise, no matter the cost, we'll find him. Cole cursed under his breath but didn't argue. Instead, he squared his shoulders. If we're doing this, we need to be ready. Helix Arc won't play fair. I'll fortify security around the shelter and the greenhouse. Anyone comes close, they'll have to go through me first. Alexander nodded, his decision finally clear. He wasn't just chasing his own healing anymore. He was vowing to protect Kai, even against himself. Then it's settled, he said. This isn't just about my legs. It's about family, about giving him back what he lost. Kai's small smile flickered in the stormlight. And giving you back what you lost too. The room held its breath as thunder rolled across the harbor, a promise and a threat entwined. The harbor city shivered under lightning as midnight neared. Alexander sat in the dim boardroom of Aurelius, the storm painting streaks across the long windows. Kai perched beside him, the battered toy car on the table between them. Its chipped paint caught each flash, a stubborn spark in the dark. Cole leaned against the wall, arms folded, his earpiece buzzing faint static. Perimeter's clean for now, but Helix Arc's tightening its net. We intercepted chatter. They want the boy moved by dawn. Kai's fingers curled around the car. They'll never stop, will they? No, Alexander said softly, his deep blue eyes fixed on Kai. But neither will we. He drew in a breath, turning to Cole. Mobilize every resource. Aurelius vans, private security, safe houses. If Helix Arc comes for him, they'll find more than steel waiting. Cole gave a short nod. Done. But remember, Calder doesn't bluff. If she's circling, it's because she's ready to strike. Maya entered with a tablet, her face pale. Alexander, we have a situation. Someone breached our network, straight to your personal server. And then... She trailed off, tapping the screen. A video filled it. Dr. Morgan Calder, Helix Arc's CEO, appeared against a backdrop of glowing circuits. Her voice poured through the speakers, smooth and venomous. Alexander Ward, trade me the boy, and I will give you your legs back tonight. Refuse, and both of you will break. The screen went black. Kai clutched the toy car tight, trembling. His voice cracked, but held. She can't give you that. Only I can. Alexander's chest burned. For years he had dreamed of standing again, of walking across a room without steel and wheels. And here was his rival, dangling the promise before him. His hand shook on the table. Cole's eyes narrowed. Boss, don't even think about it. She'll take him and bury the truth with his father. Maya's voice cut sharper. If you yield now, it's over. Not just Aurelius, your soul. You'll be no better than the people who built that bridge to fail. Kai slid the toy car across the table toward Alexander. This is all I have left of him. If you choose me, you'll never walk the same way again. But maybe you'll walk a better way. The room pulsed with silence, broken only by thunder. Alexander stared at the car, at the boy, at the storm beyond. He thought of the bridge, the lives lost, the weight of guilt. And then he thought of Kai, who had touched steel and sparked hope where medicine had failed. His voice was steady when it came. She can keep her deal. I choose you. Kai's eyes glistened and his whisper came like a vow. Then we'll stand together. Cole exhaled, shoulders loosening. That's all I needed to hear. Lightning tore the sky, but inside the battered car gleamed like a beacon. Alexander's choice was made, and for the first time in 2 years, he felt lighter than the storm outside. The storm had driven the city underground. Aurelius's private tunnels stretched beneath the harbor like veins, carved in concrete and steel. Water dripped from pipes as Alexander's wheelchair rattled forward, Kai walking close by with the battered toy car clutched to his chest. Cole led the way, pistol drawn, his every step sharp with tension. Behind them, echoes boomed. Boots, shouts, the chase tightening. Helix Arc's operatives were close. Kai's breathing quickened. They're here. I can feel them, like noise pressing against my head. Alexander leaned forward, his voice steady despite the fear burning in his chest. Stay with me, Kai. You're safe as long as I'm breathing. The tunnel curved, lit by failing bulbs. Suddenly, Kai stopped. His eyes locked on Alexander's legs. We have to retune now. Cole barked, Not here, we need to move. But Kai shook his head, defiant. If we don't, he'll never outrun them. We'll both break. Alexander's pulse thundered. He knew the risk. He remembered Kai's warning about unfinished healing. But behind them, Helix Arc closed in. Before them, only shadows and dripping pipes. He nodded once. Do it. Kai knelt, pressing both hands to Alexander's knees, toy car held tight against his chest. His eyes closed, and the tunnel's hum shifted. It was subtle at first, a faint resonance like strings tightening, notes falling into tune. Alexander gasped as heat surged again, this time stronger, running down his thighs into his calves. His toes twitched inside his shoes. Boss, Cole whispered, stunned. Alexander gritted his teeth, fingers digging into the rims of his chair. Pain and fire tangled, but beneath it, movement. Slow, halting, but real. He forced his hands off the wheels and, with Kai's guidance, pushed himself upright. His knees trembled, body swaying, but he stood. 2 years of steel and silence, broken in a storm-lit tunnel. Kai's voice trembled. Now take a step. Alexander did. One halting step, then another, leaning heavily on the tunnel wall, but walking. Each footfall echoed like thunder. Tears burned his eyes. He looked down at Kai. "You did this." Kai's lips curved faintly. "No, we did." Behind them, shouts grew louder. Cole reloaded, snapping his weapon shut. "Boss, we have to move now." Alexander crouched, awkward, shaky, but free enough to do what mattered. He pulled Kai close, voice raw. "Listen to me. No matter what happens, I will find your father. You're not alone anymore." For the first time, Kai whispered a word he had never dared. "Dad." The sound nearly broke Alexander. He hugged the boy tight, then straightened with fire in his veins. "Cole," he said, voice steady now. "We move. Together." Lightning flickered through the grated vents above, and with each step forward, the storm outside seemed to follow. The tunnels spat them out near the old ferry docks, storm winds howling through broken planks. Alexander leaned on the railing, legs shaking but holding. Kai at his side gripping the battered toy car. Cole scanned the shadows, weapon drawn. Then the pier lights flickered alive. Screens embedded in the pylons crackled. And a familiar face emerged. Dr. Morrigan Calder, CEO of Helix Arc. Her crimson lips curved into a cold smile. "Alexander Ward," she purred, her voice echoing across the docks. "I warned you. Trade me the boy, and I would give you your legs. Instead, you hide like rats in tunnels. Look at yourself, hobbling on scraps of strength. Do you think you can protect him?" Alexander forced himself upright, every muscle burning. His deep blue eyes locked on the screen. "I'd rather crawl the rest of my life than sell him to you." Kai clutched his toy car tighter, trembling but steady. "She's lying. She can't fix you." Calder's gaze flicked to Kai, her smile sharpening. "Your father thought the same. That's why he disappeared. He wouldn't give me what I wanted." Kai's face drained. "You took him." Calder tilted her head, mock sympathy in her eyes. "A brilliant engineer. Pity he chose loyalty over vision. But you, little one, you could finish his work." Cole raised his gun, snarling. "Shut it down or I'll—" "Shoot the screen?" Calder laughed, her voice warping in static. "You can't stop me. This city runs on my networks. I can snuff out Aurelius with one keystroke, but I'll give you one last chance. Deliver the boy by sunrise, or your empire crumbles with him." The feed cut. Darkness slammed back onto the pier. Alexander's knees buckled, but Kai steadied him, small hands gripping his arm. "Don't listen. She only wants to scare you." Alexander dropped to one knee, pulling Kai close. "She wants power, but she underestimated one thing." Kai blinked. "What?" "That I've already chosen you over everything else." His voice broke, but the truth steadied it. "My legs, my company, my name. None of it matters if I lose you." Cole's voice was low, fierce. "Boss, then we fight, but we need a plan. Helix Arc has eyes everywhere. We'll have to move like shadows." Kai raised his toy car, pressing it against Alexander's palm. "This is all I have left of my dad. If we keep it safe, he's still with us, and maybe we can find him." Alexander closed his hand around the dented metal. Lightning split the sky, illuminating the boy's determined face. "Then we don't give her dawn," Alexander said, pushing himself to his feet again. "We give her war." The storm swallowed the docks, but in that moment, the battered toy car gleamed like a promise. By morning, the storm had torn through the city, leaving debris scattered across the waterfront. But the real tempest raged inside Aurelius Gridworks. Screens blared headlines. "Mysterious child linked to CEO's recovery." "Aurelius accused of exploiting minors." "Gifted boy or corporate hoax?" Alexander sat at the head of the boardroom table, hands braced on his wheelchair. His legs still trembled with each faint spark of movement Kai had given him, but he stayed seated, the battered toy car resting beside his notes. Kai sat in the corner, shrinking under the weight of flashing cameras outside the windows. One board member slammed a folder shut. Alexander, this is madness. Viral footage shows a child with unnatural abilities inside Aurelius property. The SEC is already circling. Investors are calling for your resignation. Another chimed in, voice sharp. Our competitors claim you're experimenting illegally on orphans. If you don't provide answers, Aurelius will collapse within weeks. Cole leaned against the wall, scowling. Those leaks came straight from Helix Arc. Calder's planting stories faster than we can kill them. Maya slid her tablet forward. We can disprove the science, but not the fear. People believe what they see, and right now they see a billionaire hiding a boy with powers. The boardroom erupted in overlapping voices, accusations, warnings, ultimatums. Through it all, Alexander's eyes stayed fixed on the toy car. His reflection warped in its dents, the ghost of his own guilt staring back. Finally, he slammed his palm down, the room silenced. Enough! His voice cut through like steel. For 2 years, I've lived as a shadow, chained to guilt, bound to steel. This boy gave me back more than feeling. He gave me purpose. A woman at the far end sneered. Purpose won't save your empire. Alexander turned to her, his deep blue eyes blazing. Then maybe it doesn't deserve to be saved. Gasps rippled through the room. He pushed the toy car forward until it clicked against the wood. This belonged to Kai's father, one of Aurelius's own engineers. Helix Arc stole him, buried him, and now they want his son. If you think I'll trade a child's life for quarterly profit, you're sitting at the wrong table. Kai's small voice broke the heavy silence. I'm not afraid. Not if you're with me. Alexander looked at him, something softening in his face. I'll always be with you. Cole stepped forward, his tone rough but resolute. Boss, if you stand by him publicly, Helix Arc won't just smear you. They'll come with everything. Lawyers, operatives, politics. You could lose it all. Alexander straightened in his chair, his jaw set. Then let them come. Aurelius isn't just about grids and power anymore. It's about protecting what matters. And if the world wants a spectacle, fine. I'll give them one. The board murmured in disbelief, but none dared challenge him further. Outside, reporters shouted questions into the storm-cleansed air. Alexander glanced at Kai, then back to the board. Prepare a press conference. Today. No lies, no denials. The world deserves to hear the truth. The boy's fingers tightened on his toy car, and for the first time since the storm began, his lips curved in something close to a smile. The press conference hall overflowed with flashing cameras and murmuring voices. Reporters jostled for space, their questions a rising tide. At the center stood Alexander, his wheelchair angled beneath the bright lights. Kai sat beside him on a simple chair, the battered toy car resting in his lap like a shield. Cole and Maya flanked them, faces tense. When the room finally hushed, Alexander leaned forward into the microphone. His deep blue eyes swept the crowd. For weeks, you've heard rumors. For hours, you've seen headlines. Let me tell you the truth. A ripple of anticipation moved through the press corps. He placed a hand gently on Kai's shoulder. This boy is Kai Tron. He is not an experiment. He is not a commodity. He is a child, an orphan whose father, Min Tron, once worked for Aurelius before being stolen from him by forces that prey on the vulnerable. 2 nights ago, Kai saved me in a way no medicine or machine could, and for that, I owe him my life. Cameras flashed like lightning. A reporter shouted, Mr. Ward, are you admitting Aurelius is harboring children with special abilities? Isn't that illegal? Alexander's jaw tightened, but his voice stayed calm. What's illegal is exploiting them. What's immoral is pretending they don't exist. These children deserve protection, not persecution. That is why today I am founding the Resonance Foundation, with $200 million dedicated to safeguarding children like Kai across the globe. Gasps rippled through the hall. He lifted the toy car from Kai's lap, holding it high for the cameras. The dented metal gleamed under the lights. This car is all Kai has left of his father. It reminds me of something we forget too often, that lives are worth more than empires. Aurelius will not use these children. We will protect them. And if that costs me my company, so be it." Kai's eyes glistened as he whispered, just loud enough for the microphone to catch, "Thank you." Reporters clamored, voices overlapping. One called, "Mr. Ward, are you saying you can walk again?" Alexander looked down at his legs, then back to the cameras. "What I've regained is hope, and that is more powerful than walking." The hall erupted with noise, questions, shouts, disbelief. But beneath it all, a current shifted. A billionaire had just risked his empire not for profit, but for a boy. Outside, the storm clouds broke. For the first time in days, sunlight poured across the port city. Alexander placed the toy car back in Kai's hands and whispered, "We've started something bigger than both of us, and I won't let it end here." The courtyard of St. Bridget's shelter smelled of wet stone and sea salt as dawn stretched pale light over the harbor. Reporters had been cleared, guards posted at every corner, but Alexander asked for quiet. No podiums, no lights, just one moment of peace. Kai walked beside him, small hand clutching the battered toy car, and Alexander gripped the wheels of his chair, then let go, bracing against the trembling in his legs. Slowly, unsteadily, he rose. His knees wavered, but Kai steadied him with a hand at his side. Gasps whispered through the gathered staff and volunteers. Sister Agnes pressed her hands together, her eyes wet. Alexander looked down at Kai, voice low and warm. 2 years ago, I thought I'd never stand again. But you gave me more than strength. You gave me family." He reached into his jacket and pulled out something wrapped in velvet. With careful fingers, he revealed a small motorized toy car, sleek but crafted in the same design as Kai's dented keepsake. Its headlights flickered with tiny lights, the wheels humming softly. Kai's eyes widened. "Is that mine?" Alexander knelt, his balance shaky but sure. He placed the restored car in Kai's hands. "Your father built the first. I rebuilt it, with Aurelius engineers in his honor. Now it's alive again, just like us. And I promise you this, Kai. We'll find him. Together." The boy's throat worked as he tried to speak. Finally, he whispered, "I've never had anyone say that to me. Not once." Alexander smiled through the tightness in his chest. "Then let this be the first of many times. You're not alone anymore." The toy car whirred to life in Kai's hands, its tiny engine humming a hopeful note. Laughter broke through the boy's tears. Sister Agnes stepped forward, her voice trembling. "Mr. Ward, this shelter has seen countless children abandoned in storms. Today, we've seen one found." Alexander reached for Kai's hand. Together, they walked, one halting step at a time, across the shelter's courtyard. Each footfall was fragile, imperfect, but each one was theirs. Volunteers clapped softly. Cole stood guard at the gate, a rare smile tugging at his face. Maya wiped her eyes behind her clipboard. Kai leaned closer, whispering a single word he had held back until now. "Dad." Alexander's breath caught, but he didn't falter. He squeezed the boy's hand tighter. "Yes, son." The courtyard filled with morning light, and for the first time, Alexander felt not just alive, but whole. Alexander wheeled into his office later that morning, the storm now a memory, and Kai sat quietly by the window, toy car in lap. A soft chime echoed from the corner computer. An auto-triggered email had arrived. Alexander opened it carefully, eyes scanning each line. "If you're reading this, I'm alive. Min Tron." Kai's fingers stiffened around the car. "Dad." Alexander swallowed, emotions tightening his throat. He turned to Kai, voice steady but filled with awe. "We found him. He's alive. And now, we finished what began so long ago." Cole leaned back against the wall, arms crossed, scanning the skyline. "Boss, this changes everything. The bridge, Helix Arc, Aurelius, it all shifts now. You're not just walking, you're rewriting the story. Maya stepped forward, eyes bright. And you've turned a tragedy into a promise. Kai's gift, your courage. They're a force that can heal more than just bodies. Alexander nodded, gazing down at the toy car, then at Kai's hopeful face. It's bigger than any empire, bigger than any technology we could build. This is family, trust, and hope. Kai's small hand slid into Alexander's. Will you walk with me to find him? Alexander squeezed gently. Every step. Outside, sunlight spilled across the port city, illuminating rooftops and streets washed clean by the storm. Inside, a billionaire CEO and a small boy, bound by courage and love, shared a bond that no enemy could break. Their journey had begun in fear and loss, but it would continue in hope, rebuilding not just a family, but a sanctuary for every child like Kai. The toy car whirred softly, a reminder that even the smallest sparks can ignite the greatest change. And together, Alexander and Kai moved forward, not just walking, but leading, healing, and protecting a world that had nearly forgotten the power of trust. The future stretched ahead, uncertain but bright. And for the first time in years, Alexander Ward felt truly free.